uma liderança indígena do Brasil, e a jovem Greta, que tem essa iniciativa, né, na luta em defesa do clima, em defesa da vida no planeta, assim como nós indígenas, né, que há mais de 5 séculos enfrentamos várias pandemias e, igualmente, somos essa resistência permanente em defesa do planeta. Então, eu quero agradecer a Greta por estar aqui.
I want to thank Greta for being here and to add forces defending humanity and the planet.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I am climate activist in Sweden, active in the Fridays for Future movement. And I want to start by thanking everyone who organized this together, and of course that it is a huge honor to meet, even though it's virtually, to meet you, Sonia. And you're a true inspiration to everyone, and we are all in debt to you. We are all so grateful for everything that you do, for the tireless fight that you fight every single day, and that all Indigenous people are fighting every single day. And yes, as you said, we are fighting for the same cause, and I'm so happy to stand next to you today and in this fight, because this is a fight for life and death for way too many people.
Well, we're together, Greta, this afternoon, right? Today is an historical day, a meeting between generations, a meeting between these collective fights, and we always live in emergency times, but this pandemic arrived really strong in indigenous territory and infected over 28,000 indigenous people in Brazil
700 pessoas
and killed over 700 people, over 700 indigenous lives lost. It means a loss of knowledge and the loss of knowledge, and those people represent also the weakening of our culture, the modification in our lifestyle. And we need to use this moment to activate on people the principle of heal, not only through medicines, but also through humility and solidarity and this reconnection with Mother Earth. We are living times of emergency in the whole world, and this generation meeting also means to guarantee lifestyles, adversities, biodiversity on the planet, and for this we need to cultivate this solidarity, reactivate people's hearts, people's minds, so then we can make our fight more strong. We can give power and change our consumerism. And there also must be a change in the economical system. And we have this role of making these changes. And that's why we're here together today. to call everyone that's worried with the future of next generations to be together with us making these changes.
Nós lançamos, Greta, né? Quero finalizar essa parte falando
We
para você.
launched, Greta. I want to end this part telling you that Apib,
todas as regiões
Articulation of Indigenous People from Brazil, together with other indigenous organizations from Brazil, a lot of partners and activists, environment and human rights activists, we've been building together the plan Maracá Indigenous Emergency. The Maracá Indigenous Emergency denunciates the impact of the pandemic among indigenous people. And it also is a symbol of indigenous lands, how we can do good to humanity, and how we are fighting against agrobusiness, miners, big miners, deforestation, fires, because when the Amazon burns, when Cerrado burns, when Atlantic forest burns, our history is erased as well. So that's why we want to strengthen this fight and change the system of exploration of Mother Earth and make familiar agriculture more strong and divide our territories, give us our lands, and pressure Bolsonaro government, because we need to do this, and tell the whole world to put pressure on Bolsonaro to respect indigenous people and also respect the environment. That's the role of every people, everyone.
Yes, exactly. We are right now in the beginning, in the middle of the terrible crisis, and this crisis is global because what happens in the Amazon rainforest doesn't stay in the Amazon rainforest, and we need to act now. We need to understand that we are depending on the Amazon rainforest, and we are depending on the people protecting the Amazon rainforest. We are depending on the people putting their lives on the line to save the Amazon rainforest, to protect it. And we are depending on indigenous peoples, and that's why we need to do everything, because they cannot stand alone in this fight. Right now, they are doing the fight for us. They are the ones being impacted the most, suffering the most from this crisis, but also the ones leading the fight against it. And that cannot be. We need to stand together. We need to globally to do everything we can to put pressure on governments and on people in power, on the Bolsonaro government, who are doing horrible things right now, and defend the defenders, because people are being killed. That is something we have to admit, and we have to be open about, and we have to communicate this, because this is a crisis. We are depending on these people. About 80% of the Earth's biodiversity is at the hands of indigenous people, and if we don't understand how much we are depending on this, then we don't stand a chance. Simply, we need to reconnect. We need to understand that we are a part of nature, and that we are all one big global family, so to speak. And so everyone has a role to play in this crucial time, everyone has a role to play. Of course, people have different responsibilities and different opportunities, but every single one has a role to play, and everyone can make a difference. We cannot forget that. Yeah, and as this is such an urgent crisis, it is because basically people are dying today. For every day that goes by, the situation escalates, and it will become even harder to I mean, we cannot have this undone, and for every day we are just digging ourselves deeper in this mess. And the Amazon rainforest is close to passing a tipping point where it runs dry, and we cannot let that happen, because that would be, to say the least, that would be catastrophic. So yeah, we are asking everyone to please stand up and make your voice heard.
Greta,
Greta, I would suggest that from now on, from this meeting, I'd suggest to everyone to help us and make an agenda of more frequency to keep making this call. Our Maracá is a call for global support. This is an indigenous instrument that's known in much parts of the world. We need to go through the oceans and take this call that's an emergency, not only an indigenous emergency, but a humankind emergency. Everything that hits indigenous people in the Amazon and indigenous people in Brazil will hit and affect everyone in the world. We still have time. We still have time to reconnect with Mother Earth and save humanity. But for this, we need a better engagement of people to be together with us in this fight. A lot of people ask us, indigenous people, why do we want so much land? And we've been answering, it's not a lot of land. We are a little number to take care of so much people. We can't do this anymore. We need people to understand that the lifestyle and indigenous lands and territories need to be protected so we can guarantee life on planet. We need people to understand that the water in people's homes relies on the fight we have every day. The fight we are against agrobusiness that destroys more and more day after day. The fight we are against miners. I must say that there are 20,000 illegal miners in Roraima, Brazilian state, and they destroy the environment. They took the contamination to indigenous people. The territory in Pará, Urucu people, miners are still haunting them, killing them, illegal wood exploration that has a lot of conflicts and have killed a lot of indigenous people. And all the Amazon rainforest is suffering this violent process of invasion. Because of deforestation, miners, the pandemic that has arrived in all the Brazilian Amazon and arrived in all Brazilian states. So besides fighting the pandemic, we need to fight all of these historical problems that also affect and kill our people, indigenous people. And we need the whole world to engage, to pressure the Brazilian government to have responsibility and take action. And Amazonia Council won't solve it. We need to act. The words won't solve anything. We need action. We need to block the Mercosur agreement, this agreement between EU and Brazil. This agreement blocking this agreement will make people to destroy the environment and kill even more indigenous people. We need from the Brazilian government a tracking of these products that are made in the Amazon. We need from Europe this commitment and to respect human rights and environmental rights and punish companies that disrespect these rights. We need this in Europe as well, and put responsibility in them for everything that's happening in Brazil.
Exactly, because this isn't just a problem that has come out of the blue. The ones who are destroying the Amazon rainforest, they have names, and they are companies, they are individuals. So we need to pressure those people. We need to hold those people accountable and say that we will not accept this behavior anymore, because it is completely unacceptable. And one thing that is also very important that you mentioned, the COVID crisis. Yes, indigenous people are being disproportionately hit by this pandemic, and that is something that people don't seem to know. So I think that is very important for people to realize. And we must also not, during this horrible pandemic, this tragedy, we must not also forget about all the other crises, such as the one that is happening in the Amazon, because people are using this lack of attention. The Brazilian government is using this lack of attention to allow more businesses to do what they want, because they don't, since there's no attention, then they aren't being criticized enough. So we need to find a way that we, during this time, that we don't forget, and that we keep the momentum. And because it's more important now than ever, because also the indigenous defenders who are defending the forests, they are also being disproportionately hit by the virus. So yeah, this is quite a critical situation. And one question I have for you, Sonia, is people like me, people who live in Sweden, who might not be, or at least who think we might not be directly affected by everything that is happening in the Amazon rainforest right now. What is something concrete and specific that we can do right now to help?
Concretamente, Greta, nós precisamos
Concretely, Greta, we need more engagement. We need to raise awareness. You are already doing so much, mobilizing youth people. It's incredible. You are the pressure you put on governments, and we need to bring more people to our side. We need to bring more people to this awareness of reconnection, of the meaning of protecting and taking care of Mother Earth, but also this political conscience to elect representatives that are committed to life and the environment. We can't keep electing people that are together with big corporations. These big corporations that only think about profit and money and think progress needs to be done with destruction. We can't do this as a synonym of deforestation. We can't do this as a synonym of forest destruction. We need to think in a development that respect lifestyles, that respect cultural diversity, and that involves people. And not that exclude them. The economic model that we have today kick people out of their territories, criminalize our fights, criminalize social movements to protect the environment. Brazil is one of the most dangerous countries for environment and human rights protectors and activists. We need to change this. And for this, we need to raise awareness, make people more conscious about the environment and this political conscience of electing their representatives. Together, we can do so much. We can do really, really much. We can do a lot. We can indeed make these changes. And we have this responsibility of making these changes through raising awareness and making people conscious, especially when it comes to electing governments and politicians, because they can change these politics. We can also avoid electing the people we have today. So youth is important. It has such a critical role. We need to bring more young people and also children, because we are fighting for ourselves today. But children's future is also in game. And we've been talking about the loss of rights in Brazil, of culture rights, social rights. And when you take this right away, it's not only these rights that are being lost, it's our future. It's our future that it's in game. So people in Europe need to engage more and also put pressure on their representatives and put pressure on their governments to adopt laws that can strengthen agriculture, local agriculture in our countries, and put responsibility in big companies that are destroying other countries, like it's happening in Brazil and many other places. We also need to stop saying we are worried about the environment and not doing anything. A lot of governments have been saying they're worried about the environment, but they don't do anything. They don't do anything concrete. We need society to talk to these representatives and put pressure on them, so then we can together make these changes in the world. And supporting indigenous people in the whole world, Greta, is also a form of amplify these voices. You have a platform that we don't have access to. We have our pages, we have our pages on Facebook, Instagram, pages of indigenous leaders that are on the front line against these fights. It's important for people to know the fights we're having in Brazil. And now I repeat our page of Indigenous Emergency, where there's the Maracá Plan, Indigenous Emergency, that shows our fight and the support we need to implement the actions that are on our emergency plan. It's not only a plan to fight the pandemic, but it's to heal and save lives. Even before the pandemic, it's important to say that it's a plan. It's more than a plan. It's a collaborative plan. We always need more people. We need more and more people to engage and help with this Maracá plan to help us and spread indigenous knowledge and indigenous culture to raise awareness, support indigenous people. So we have to raise awareness and make people more engaged and put pressure, spread this plan, our plan. All of those things are done to protect the climate. And they are done to protect people's rights, indigenous rights as well.
Yes, exactly. As you stress, it is awareness, and awareness. We need to spread awareness to collectively put pressure on these people who are destroying so much, who are stealing our future. And everyone has a platform. Even though we have different platforms, we have different opportunities. Everyone must use their platform and the opportunity that they have. And this is not just something that we can do, that we can overcome. This is something that we must do, that we must overcome, and we need to do it together, because otherwise we won't be able to achieve it. So we need to stand united across borders, across everything, because this is a matter of life and death, and we cannot wait any longer.
Isso, não podemos mais esperar. E ainda
Yeah, we can't wait any longer. And there is still time, right? There is still time, but we're running out of time, right? It's urgent. We need solidarity, support, and we need our plan to be recognized. I want to reinforce that how much this pandemic has impacted indigenous people. 700 dead indigenous people is not little. We are being hit 3 times more than the average of Brazilian population. We lost over 360 older people, older indigenous people that are our source of knowledge and are responsible to teach you all this knowledge. So lose them is the same as lose our treasure. our knowledge. We need to call the world to fight this pandemic. We can't lose any more lives. Here we have a lot of people that are watching us that may have never seen me talking, may have never seen an indigenous person, that may not know how we are fighting here, how much we're fighting. There are over 100,000 dead people in Brazil, over 700 indigenous people. We need to say over. We need to put an end in this. We need government to take concrete actions and do something to avoid more deaths. And I reinforce our platform, emergenciaindigena.apib.info Maracá. Please donate to our movement and follow our fight. See data that Apib releases every day. And I also want to tell that we are together with another group of partners in a campaign. We're going to launch it in Europe. What side are you on? Amazon or Bolsonaro? So people need to take a position. You can't support Bolsonaro and say you defend the Amazon because they are the exact opposite. So we also need people to take their positions and take their positions against Bolsonaro and support indigenous people, support the fight for the environment that indigenous people have every day. So Greta, please, I want to keep going with this agenda to fight this pandemic. Our fight is really important to avoid more deaths for lack of responsibility, commitment, and infrastructure for people to protect themselves. We are together, me and you. This fight is yours, this fight is ours.
Yes, I could not have said it better myself. Thank you. And thank you for being such a huge inspiration for so many people.
Muito obrigada, Greta. Seguimos juntas, tá?
Thank you so much, Greta. Let's keep going together. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who are watching this.
Thank you very much, Greta Thunberg and Sonia Guajajara. This is a special moment for all of humanity when we must gather a critical mass and take the responsibility of our future into our own hands by amplifying and multiplying our voices and our choices. We are watching, we are uniting, we will continue to gather our forces together for a better world for all. May this be the beginning of many more events and collaborations so that we may see and manifest together the better world. Thank you everyone who's come to join us in this live broadcast. Thank you to everyone and all the organizations who have come together to make this possible. And all the ancestors who come before us. And may this be a blessing to our children and their children and our own future. Together, we are stronger, we are better. It's our choice. So thank you, everyone. And may we continue onwards and upwards together.
Marcação Já. Sangue indígena.
Defend indigenous lands.
Sangue indígena.
No more drops of indigenous blood. Don't drop any more indigenous blood. Not a single drop.
Your fight is our fight. Be part of the change together. Thank you. And anyone who's watching, please share on all your networks. That it will help the awareness spread. Thank you.
Saímos